Hello, fellow book readers. My name is John, and today I'm going to go over my favorite characters that I read in 2025. Now, these are only going to be characters that I first read in 2025. So if I've read the character in 2024 or 2023 or earlier than that, they won't be included in this. So, for example, you won't be seeing the dragons from Fourth Wing on this list, even though I do really like them. And you won't be seeing Poe or Emily and Wendell from the Emily Wilde series, because those are characters that I read or first read in 2024. So that the parameters for this list are characters that I have started reading for the first time in 2025. And these aren't going to be in any order. This isn't a top 10 or anything. These are just my favorite characters. There's multiple characters from different series on this list. But anyway, let's start with the Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time has my favorite. Even though I said this isn't going to be in order, I'm just going to say this would, if I was putting in order, Wheel of Time would have my favorite characters of the year in there. And my favorite character in Wheel of Time is Egwene. al'Vere, I just think she is a pretty perfect character. She's a natural-born leader. She is the only one of the Edmund Field 5 that actually wants to go on the adventure in the beginning of Eye of the World. All the others are trying to figure out ways to get out of going on the adventure. But they're kind of forced into it. Egwene, who wasn't even invited on the adventure, just volunteers to come. She wants to be in on it. She goes through so much trauma, but her arc in especially Knife of Dreams, where she manages to get power through pain, is really, really strong. Again, she's just a natural born leader. She is always thinking about the betterment of everybody else, how to save the world, and yeah, she just loves learning, and I love that about her. She wants to learn how to be an Aes Sedai. She wants to learn how to be a wise woman. She goes through all these different camps and just learns as much as she possibly can. And it culminates in a great finale. I don't believe she should have died, but if she was going to die, the scene where she dies is perfection. She is a great character. Just a great, great character, in my opinion, and she gets way too much hate online. Okay. Next up is Rand al'Thor, the Dragon Reborn from Wheel of Time. He is, in my opinion, the best Chosen One character ever written in literature. Now, don't get me wrong, there's Chosen One characters in movies that perhaps are a little bit more like Luke or Anakin Skywalker, but in terms of book Chosen One characters, I think Rand is the best. He just rules. He goes through such a journey, and I say this to say, I didn't like Rand in Eye of the World, and I didn't like Rand in The Great Hunt either. It took till The Dragon Reborn for me to like Rand, but his journey from front to back is something else. It's something special. The trials and tribulations that he goes through just really affect his character in ways that you both will appreciate and not see coming, but also see coming. It's just perfect, and I've read books before where events happen to characters and it doesn't change them at all. That's not the case here with Rand, and I really appreciate the way Robert Jordan did that, and I thought he made it work really well. Rand is just genuinely a good character, and he's very easy to root for, which is what you want in a protagonist. Just a great Chosen One, in my opinion. Okay, continuing down the Wheel of Time train, we're going to talk a little bit about Moiraine. She is the mentor character in Wheel of Time. I just think she's a very unique mentor character, and if there's anything you should know about me, it's that the mentor archetype is probably my favorite archetype of a character, and I think Moiraine is pretty unique when it comes to mentor characters. She's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. She has a lot of faults around her, and she's not there to just comfort our protagonist in ways that, say, Gandalf is there to comfort Frodo, or Albus Dumbledore is there to comfort Harry Potter. She is just pushing Rand as much as possible, and she's not doing it in a kind way all the time, but she is getting her point across, and Rand is at his best when he is under Moiraine's tutelage. Once Moiraine disappears, Rand sort of spirals a little bit, and you see that, and I think that was really well done. And I just appreciate Moiraine as a character, the way she talks. She has a voice that's very unique. Moiraine is just a great mentor character, and she feels very different from some of the other more famous mentor characters out there. Okay, and we'll do one more Wheel of Time character. That would be Elaine Trakand, the daughter heir of Andor. I just think she's like the perfect sort of princess/queen character. They didn't try to do anything too different with her, but they did make her seem like she grew up thinking she was going to be queen one day, and believing she was royalty. I think he did a really good job with that. Sometimes you see characters in other series where they are royalty and they don't really act like it, and that's always felt a little strange to me. That's not the case for Elaine. Elaine manages to both feel like royalty but be likable at the same time, which I think is really hard to do, but she pulls it off. I just like Elaine a lot, and I think the arc she goes through, she has probably maybe the most interactions with like different sets of characters in the whole series. You know, she interacts with Rand, she interacts with Egwene, she interacts a lot with Nynaeve, she interacts a lot with Matt. She interacts a lot with a lot of the different main characters in various different arcs. Brigitte, obviously, and I think it's all really well done throughout the entire series. Plus, she's very brave, and I thought that was a very courageous thing for Robert Jordan to do, and I thought it really worked. Okay, let's move away from Wheel of Time for a little bit, and we're going to go to the Stormlight Archive, where I have two characters I need to mention. The first is my favorite Stormlight character, one of my favorite characters of all time, Shallan Davar. She's very Egwene-coded in that she wants to learn, but she's different from Egwene in the fact that she doubts herself way more than Egwene doubts herself, and I think that plays really well. Plus, her past is like way more tragic than Egwene's is. So Egwene goes through trauma like during the Wheel of Time series, but a lot of Shallan's trauma comes prior to the Stormlight Archive series, and you see that a way that it affects her in various different points as her past is revealed. I think that's done really well, and like I love the way that it unfolds. And but other than that, like she has the same type of mind where she wants to constantly learn, just like Egwene, and I think that is done really well with Shallan. And I also think Shallan has the best character interactions with some of the main characters. Like she has great interactions with Jasnah, and great interactions with Kaladin, and really great interactions with Adolin. And I think those three, like specifically friendships that she has, really drive home the character progression in a lot of the different parts of the series. So yeah, I'm a big Shallan fan. She has my favorite moments in a lot of the books, so just big Shallan fan. But I can't talk about the Stormlight Archive characters without talking about Kaladin. Kaladin, one of my favorites too. I love Kaladin, especially like early Kaladin. Early Kaladin is awesome. If you want to call him a Chosen One character, that's fine. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, but yeah, I do really like his arc. His relationship with Syl, in particular, their friendship is something like really special, and I love his action scenes and his mind and his compassion, and I love how far Brandon Sanderson takes it. You can argue he takes it a little bit too far in Wind and Truth, but prior to that, like the amount of depression that Kaladin is going through and what he needs to do to fix it is done really, really well. And I think it's even done really well in Wind and Truth. It's just getting there that was kind of a problem for me. But yeah, I really like Kaladin, and he has some of the best moments in the series. I mean, his fight with Sazeth is perfection. Just a great character, and not really much more to say about that. Okay, let's go to a couple standalones. The first standalone we're going to talk about is Piranesi. The character of Piranesi, our main character, just so innocent and wondrous, and his mind is so like fantastical, where he believes everything. It's just perfection. I really think he's like one of the more lovable, easy to root for protagonists that I've ever read. And even though the book doesn't really have a plot, his character carries it to like near perfection. I don't think you can read Piranesi and leave it being like, Piranesi is a bad character. You're gonna love Piranesi. He's just a perfect character, like very easy to root for, filled with wonder. I don't know that I've ever read a character that was filled with as much wonder as Piranesi is. Even when faced with like facts that deny what he believes, he still innocently believes certain things. Just really, really easy to root for a character, and I'm super glad I read him this year, or read that book this year. And then the next character we're going to talk about is Maya from The Goblin Emperor by Catherine Addison. Yeah, this character just rules. Now, keep in mind, I only gave The Goblin Emperor 3 stars, which in my rating system is still a good book. I enjoyed The Goblin Emperor, but I'm going to tell you, I did not enjoy the plot of The Goblin Emperor. What I enjoyed about The Goblin Emperor was Maya. Just like Piranesi, he's so innocent, but he's not like filled with as much wonder or like whimsy as, say, Piranesi is. What he's filled with instead is like hope and belief in different people, that the world could be a better place than it is. And yeah, I really enjoy that about him. Even when Maya gets angry, it seems so like gentle. And yeah, he's really just a gentle soul. And the politics that are going on around him as he becomes king just seems so harsh compared to the character that Maya is. And it's so hopeful to see him traverse that and not lose himself in a way that is negative at all. So yeah, I really, really love Maya, and I think I would read more books from this series just because of the character work that Catherine Addison did in it. But Maya in particular is just top-notch, easy to root for character. Okay, let's go to the Witcher series by Andrzej Sapkowski. Obviously, we gotta talk about Geralt. What I really love about Geralt is that he is this big badass character, but he's also like kind of super gentle in a way. That's not the right word. What he is he has like a caring soul, and I really like that about him. Things are going on around him, but he's more focused on the things in his life, even though there's this major sort of epic war going on around him, and he wants to protect those that he cares about. And he says he's about the money a lot of times, but it's pretty clear by his actions, even in the short stories, that he's not. What he is about is life and protecting it and the good of the people that he is looking after. Yeah, just really like him, and I really enjoyed his journey from this like sort of gruff man to like basically an adopted father for Ciri. You can see how it changed him, and I think it changed him in like all these positive ways. Just a really great character with like a great character look too. But that's not it. I think Ciri herself is a great character, and Ciri is my favorite character in The Witcher. I love how sort of brave and snobbish she is at the same time, but also how innocent she is. Things are going on around her, and she doesn't realize like how bad they are because she's so like innocent. But she's also like super brave when the option comes, and she's a great sort of fighter when she learns how to fight a little bit. She's a great talker when she wants to argue. She can rage a little bit, but her temper is funny in a way. She provides a lot of humor, but also like she's just super easy to root for when things go wrong for her. And I think that's the mark of a great protagonist, and she definitely is one. I'm a big Ciri fan for sure. Okay, next we're going to go to the Greenbone Saga. Let's talk a little bit about Kal'Shae, who is my favorite character in the Greenbone Saga. Why I think she's the best character is because she's more thoughtful and hopeful than the rest of the characters in the No Peak clan. She is constantly hopeful for a better future for both her family and the nation. But she doesn't let it affect her work. She's still, going out there and making deals and doing anything she can so No Peak can survive. But she's also very hopeful, and she wants to prove herself worthy of the goals she was set. And it wasn't just her family name that gave her power. And we see that very early on in the series, where she does not take the jade, where she has gone years without wearing jade because she's trying to make a name for herself in a different way. But when she comes back to the family and puts the jade back on, she still does things her own way. And that sometimes creates problems with the rest of her family, but you can still tell she really cares about her family, and she always puts them first. And I think it's really perfect and really well done, and it's her character interactions, especially with Ait, I think are like the best character interactions in the book series with the antagonist. In terms of like antagonist-protagonist character interactions, I think Ait's interactions with Shay are more interesting than Ait's interactions with Hilo. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on Shay. I just really, really enjoyed her character, and the character arc she went through was tense and filled with emotion. But let's talk about Hilo, who definitely is on my favorite character list. Cal Hilo is just awesome. Just a badass character. Badass, but all about the family at the same time. And just a great fighter, but also like a great thinker, even though he comes off in the beginning as somebody who you wouldn't want to be making these type of decisions that are important because he's not like the brains. But I think that's like a misdirection by Fonda Lee, because I do think by the end you can tell he has thought about everything and he isn't as stupid as we think he is. I really think Cal Hilo is just like a perfectly written protagonist. He's a bit of a gray character in that he's not like morally good, but he's definitely a protagonist and very easy to root for, and I was a big fan of his arc from front to back. The end of that series makes me cry. Jade Legacy is amazing. Okay, let's talk about the Empire of the Vampire characters. I really, really loved Gabriel. Gabriel has this charm and this wit about him, and the way he speaks is almost poetic. I just think he's a great character. Very easy to root for. His backstory is tragic, but at the same time, filled with hope. And that's what I love about him. He still has his hope the entire time, the series, even when it looks like things are at their bleakest. And like I said, he has some great humor, some great charm, and just some great wit. And I think it really carries through the pages of the book. The series is designed as like sort of Interview with the Vampire style, where one of the characters is interviewing him, Gabriel. So you have to have a great character for that to work, and I think Gabriel is spot on great. But he's not the only great character in that series. Dior deserves some mention. She is the Holy Grail. Just a perfect character. Yeah, nothing bad about her. She's really, really easy to root for, but she isn't like a lamb. Like you would expect her to be like a lamb for the slaughter, almost like a sacrificial character. And she just isn't. She isn't that at all. She's filled with bravery and courage, and she isn't just like this weak character. She's strong, and she has her own personality, and I think it's just really done well. Just a very easy to root for character that gives her own characterization. She isn't just stuck in an archetype, and I really appreciate that about Dior. Okay, we have to talk about the character from Night in the Moth. Rachel Gillig is just awesome at writing these side characters. In One Dark Window, you had the Nightmare, who was awesome. In this book, you have Bartholomew, the stone gargoyle. Just hilarious. Hands down the funniest character I read this year. But he's not just funny in a way that's just like, that's all he is. He's funny and hopeful and very easy to root for. And yeah, just a perfect like side character. You don't get too much of him, but you get just the right amount of him. And yeah, just I can't speak enough about how great of a character Bartholomew is. And when you get his backstory, you're going to cry a little bit. Just perfect character. Really great side character. And Rachel Gillig continues to nail that. Okay, let's go back in time a little bit to the 80s. Robin McKinley wrote The Hero and the Crown. And in that book is a character called Aerin Firehair. Just a perfect main character. She's one of the best, like, strong female characters I've ever read. Main characters I've ever read. Female main characters I've ever read. And that she isn't just, like, there as a main character. She has her own personality, and she's, like, a warrior, and she's strong, and she could fight. And I thought it was done really well. And I like the growth she goes through in this book because of all the trauma she goes through. I think it's done really well because it affects her later on in the book. And I think when you write trauma and it affects a character and changes them in ways that are both positive and negative, you're writing something really special. And I really love how that was done with Aerin Firehair. And I think Aerin Firehair obviously influenced a lot of other characters that we see today, such as Aelin Fireheart. Galathinius from Throne of Glass. Pretty clear inspiration for Aelin. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Aerin Firehair, who I thought was just really awesome character, and I think more people should probably read The Hero and the Crown by Robin McKinley because it's a great book, and she's a great character. And let's talk about the most hopeful character I read this year. This character filled with hope. That would be the Little Prince from The Little Prince. Just a classic book. It's for children, but it can definitely be read as an adult. It has themes of love, hope, death, tragedy, will, education. The theming is spot on perfect, and our main character, the Little Prince, is just so filled with hope, even in the most tragic of circumstances, and I love that about him. This book made me cry. The Little Prince made me cry. The questions he asks are so poignant and on point, and I really think he's just a super easy to root for protagonist, and I love a super easy to root for protagonist. If there's anything you can get from this video, it's that I love a super easy to root for protagonist, and the Little Prince is spot on. Maybe the easiest protagonist to root for that I've ever read. Just a great character. Great character. Okay, and we are going to close out this video with Elvar from the Bloodsworn trilogy by John Gwynne. I know most people would shout out Orca's a great character, don't get me wrong, but she wasn't among my favorites. Elvar definitely was among my favorites. I loved Elvar's arc. I thought she hard carried Shadow of the Gods, and then she had an interesting arc in both Hunger of the Gods and Fury of the Gods, especially Fury of the Gods. Her death in Fury of the Gods was tragic and made me cry, but I love Elvar's bravery and her courage, and I love her ability to think things out and think problems through, and it isn't just straight fists at all times, but she definitely has her own motivations and her own sort of goals in life, and I love that she's trying to make a name for herself. It's just a really great character and very easy to root for again, but not just like, she's not like purely good, but she is good, and yeah, just big fan of Elvar for sure. And those are my favorite characters that I have read in 2025. Let me know down below what your favorite characters are. Let me know if you liked any of the characters I liked, or if you disliked them. I want to know it all. As always, thanks for watching.